Last week, we took a look at the parts of your business that most founders never see. We were able to see the leaks, we felt the friction, and most importantly, you were able to recognize the drift. For so many of us, something clicked because you realized that your business is not breaking, it was simply leaking. So today, I'm going to show you the operating standard that eliminates those leaks from the roots. You'll be able to gain the drug team. You as well gain a system, a new way of running your business so that you can create stability, scalability, as well as resilience permanently. This is the moment when the Security Evolution series comes to an end and the business reliance era begins. Before we take a look at the doctrine, there are some things I need you to understand that are very extremely important. And one of them is the fact that your business does not need more tools, your business does not need more effort, it does not need more hustle. It simply needs structure, it needs rhythm as well as clarity. Because the truth is that leaks don't form during the chaos, they form in the absence of structure. So what I'm going to be showing you today is the structure that will help you stop every leak that we saw last week. Those leaks that we saw during the last season, I'm going to show you how you can eliminate them today. How you can eliminate them today. What I want you to understand about leaks is the fact that every stable, scalable, small and medium-sized business, irrespective of which industry, irrespective of the size, irrespective of the model, irrespective of how you decide to structure it, is built on four non-negotiable foundations. They are built on four non-negotiable foundations. Now, when these foundations are strong, your business will start to compound. And interestingly, if one of them is weak, your business will not only start leaking, it will start to shake. I already showed you the leaks, but you need to understand that if those four requirements are not strong within your business, that business will start to shake. I have decided to call those four requirements the four resilience requirements. The four resilience requirements. Now, the first requirement is what I have called operational clarity. Now, what operational clarity means is that everyone knows what to do, everyone knows how to do it, everyone knows where things live within your organization. Nobody is asking unnecessary questions about what is happening. Why is this not doing this? Why is this not doing that? Because everyone, apart from being called a team, when I use the word team, I'm not just using the team as a term. I'm talking about the fact that everyone is working together as a team. They're executing things the same way every time. They know what to do, they know how to do it, they know where things live, and they are able to execute everything the same way at every point in time. The interesting thing with these requirements, operational clarity, is the fact that is the requirement that ensures consistency, it ensures visibility, it ensures predictability, as well as what is called a unified execution. So you need to know that when operational clarity is strong, drift will disappear. But when it is weak, friction will become your default operating system. I need us to look back at the lead to instability loop that we looked at last week. If you look at the second one, once your operational clarity has a problem, you have already moved into the friction phase. That is the one with the F and the arrow. The second requirement is what I call financial reading. This is a very interesting one. The financial reading means that your money is moving in patterns, it's not moving in surprises. You don't get surprise expenses. You know how you're moving out, you know what is to be spent, and you know what is expected for you to get. The thing with financial reading is that your tools You know that they are renewing on purpose. They are not renewing by accident, because you know the tools that you have. You know when they are, I'm going to use the word, the subscriptions, when they are supposed to renew, and your expenses are supporting growth. They are not leaking it. They are not leaking from it. The thing with financial reading is that it is the requirement that will ensure that you have predictable expenses, you have clean renewals, you don't have what is called silent financial drag, and you have what is called cash flow stability. That is how financial reading works. It's not just about having financial clarity or financial understanding. You know the reading. You know how your money is coming in. You know how your money is going out. That is what is referred to as a financial reading. When your financial reading is strong, you are going to be scaling with confidence. But when it is weak, you are going to start scaling with anxiety. The third requirement is what I have called team reliability. Now, let me explain how this works to you. When we are talking about team reliability, that means that your team members are not guessing. They are not improvising. They are not creating their own systems. They are not using their own tools that they have approved in their minds. They are executing the business the way that you have designed it, not the way that they have invented. No, they are working according to your standard of operations. They are working according to how you have decided to create the structure and the systems for your business. Nobody is doing anything outside of the box. The thing with team reliability is that it is the requirement that ensures consistent execution, it ensures clear communication, it ensures that there is no improvisation. Most importantly, it makes sure that you don't get into what is called the position of drift. Now, you need to understand, when we look at the leak state again, one, two, three, four, the one with the car with the road, that is the drift. Interestingly, once you enter into the drift state in the leak to instability loop, you have almost entered into an instability phase. So if your team reliability has a problem, believe me, you are automatically moving towards the instability phase. When team reliability is strong, your business will become predictable. When it is weak, your business automatically becomes fragile. I believe you are already putting the systems I'm giving to you in place, all right? Because I told you last week that last week we were going to look at the leaks, but this week I'm going to give you the system to be able to block them. And that is what I'm giving to you right now. The first requirement is what is called security confidence. Now, let me tell you how this works. Security confidence means that you know who has access, whether it's digital, whether it's physical. And when I'm talking about security right now, I'm not talking only about cyber security. I'm not talking only about information security. I'm talking in terms of security all over. Who is coming into your organization, who has access into your company, who has access into your systems, who has access to the safes, who has access to the cabinets, who has access to everything, who has access into the infrastructure, your systems, who has access into your digital infrastructure, who has access. At every point in time, you should know who has access. You should know what is updated. You should know what is monitored. You should know what is protected. That is the only way you can have control. Now, the thing with these requirements is that it ensures that you have what is called controlled access, you have updated systems, you have monitored tools, and you have a chance of reduced risk. The interesting thing with security confidence, I want you to take a look at an infrastructure like the White House. Before you decide to go into probably the White House, you need to have done like a security clearance. You need to have like a security clearance. They must have done like a background check. They would have done several things. It's not just about you opening the door and say, oh, I'm going to the White House, and then they open the door to you. No, that's not the way it works. You need to make sure that you know who has access into your organization. What that means is that even when you are going to bring in staff members, you need to do like background checks. If you are bringing in contractors, you are bringing in even your clients. You need to make sure that you do a vendor assessment for your clients, for your contractors. you need to do a background check. You need to know who is coming into your fold. At every point in time, it is extremely important you know who has access to what. You know what is updated. You know what is seen. You know what is protected. And most importantly, you have the ability to control it. Because you need to understand that when security confidence is strong, you are going to start operating without fear. But when it is weak, you will start operating on what is called borrowed time. Now, I need us to connect the dots. Let's quickly do a connection of the dots from last week. All right. Now, look at these diagrams. When you look at the four resilience requirements, the first one is operational clarity. The second one, the one with the dollar sign, is the financial rhythm. The third one with the two people is the team reliability. And the fourth one is security confidence. Now, when you also look at the second one, which is very, very important that you understand, is that from what we talked about, the 5 leakages last week, the leaks last week, we talked about permission drift, update neglect, vendor sprawl, shadow IT, as well as unmonitored automations. So now we need to do a connection of the dots. How do these two connect? Let's do a connection. Every leak that you saw last week during the last session is a result of a requirement under the 4 resilience requirements that has become weak. You will never see a leak except one of the 4 resilience requirements is leaking, has a problem, is weak. When you experience permission drift, it is because you are breaking what is called your security confidence. Your security confidence already has a problem. When you start experiencing permission drift, it is because your security confidence has a problem. When you start experiencing update neglect, it is because your operational clarity as well as your security confidence has a break. There is already a break in those two, operational clarity as well as security confidence. You will never experience an update neglect until there is a break in your operational clarity and your security confidence. Now, when you experience a vendor sprawl, it is because you are experiencing a break in your financial reading as well as your operational clarity. When you start having what is called shadow IT, shadow tools, that is because there is a break in your team reliability. Everyone is already siloed. Everyone is doing their own thing. They are no longer working as a team. There is no longer cohesion within that structure. There is a break in your team reliability. Now, when you have unmonitored automations, it is because there is a break in your operational clarity and your security confidence. I have connected the leaks for you now, which means if you know the problem from last week, from the leak hunting lens that I gave to you last week, if you know the problem that you have right now, this is how you can solve it. What problem are we experiencing? Are you experiencing permission drift? Then you know your security confidence has a problem. Are you experiencing update neglect? You need to look at your operational clarity and your security confidence. Are you experiencing a vendor sprawl? Then start looking at your financial reading as well as your operational clarity. If you are experiencing shadow IT, people are using tools they should not be using within your organization, tools that you have not approved, there is a problem with your team reliability. And if you notice that the problem that you have or the leak that you have is unmonitored automation, you need to check your operational clarity as well as your security confidence. I already told you last week, if you're able to do the leak hunting lens that I gave to you, you're able to work with those questions, it's going to be very simple. It's going to be a plug and play that you can totally plug in. Right now, I've just given you the system, I've given you the doctrine. All you need to do is plug it into your system, plug it into your business. There are no two ways about it. It's really simple. I want you to understand, like I explained last week, that leaks are not just random. No, that's not the way they work. They are symptoms, and symptoms will point to a root cause. Now, the four resilience requirements I have just given to you is what is called the root cause. These four resilience requirements: operational clarity, financial rhythm, team reliability, as well as security confidence. Once you have those four resilience requirements, they are the root cause. That means once you start noticing a leak, it's like somebody that says, oh, I have a headache. The headache is not the sickness. It's probably going to be a fever. It can be pointing to something else until you go to a doctor who decides to do a diagnosis. You cannot know what the problem is. So those leaks that you are experiencing are the diagnosis. I've just told you the four resilience requirements that are the root cause. So this is how I need us to paint the picture. A resilient small or medium-sized business is not chaotic. No, it's not reactive. In fact, it's not improvising. What it does is that it is clear, it is rhythmic, it's predictable, it's aligned, it's monitored, it's protected. Because in a resilient business, your tools don't multiply. No. Permissions will not drift. No. Automations don't misfire. No. Expenses, they don't surprise you. You don't just look at, oh, when did this come in? They are expected. Your teams will start improvising, and most importantly, your systems will not break silently. That is because your business is going to become a compounding machine, not a leaking one. If you start to experience any of these things, maybe you find out your tools are multiplying, your permissions are drifting, your automations are starting to misfire, your expenses, that's the most common one. Expenses are coming and you're like, when did this come in? How did this come in? What happened? If you have a surprise expense, then you know that automatically you are starting to run a leak in your business. You already have what is called a leakage within your business. Look at your financial reading. Have a good understanding of your operational clarity. What is going on? Now, today, what I want you to do is that I need you to assess yourself. I'm not talking about emotionally. I'm not talking about defensively. No. This is not a judgment. I just need you to be objective. Ask yourself a question. Which of these requirements right now is the weakest within my business? Which of these leaks do I think is most active? Most importantly, which of these foundations is actually feeling unstable for us right now? I'm going to ask you those three questions again. Ask yourself, which of these requirements is the weakest? Which of these leaks is most active? Which of those foundation feels unstable? And that is because the requirement that you score the lowest on is this requirement that is silently limiting your growth. The truth is that if you have a problem with these four resilience requirements, it's going to be very difficult for your business to grow. This is the moment that as a founder, I need you to finally see the truth. Your business is not leaking everywhere. No. Most importantly, for a lot of founders that I have seen, it can be leaking in just one place, it can be leaking in two places. Most of the time, I have discovered that, at least for most of the founders that I have worked with, the two that they usually have a problem with is financial reading as well as operational clarity. Yours may not be the same, okay? But you need to understand that when your business is leaking in only one place, and that place is fixable. All right, guys. Now that you understand the doctrine, you have two choices. You can decide to try to fix the leaks alone, or you can decide to start doing it slowly, manually, reactively, or you can decide to step into the next phase of the business resilience era with support, structure, and a guided implementation path. All right. Right now, like I told you last week, this is going to be the last session in the Security Evolution series. The next time you are going to be meeting with me is going to be the business reliance series, the business reliance era. In fact, I'm not going to say it's a series, it is an era. Your business does not have to leak anymore, okay? Because you now have the doctrine, you now have the operating standard, and most importantly, I have given you the path to resilience. The next time you're going to be seeing me is going to be on the 8th, on the first Thursday in March. The first Thursday in March. I think that's going to be the 5th. The first Thursday in March. That is going to be the first time. The next time you're going to be seeing me, and it's going to be the first time in the business reliance resilience, the business resilience era. Believe me, I am super excited about this because you need to understand that right now it is very important that we are building businesses that are stable, scalable, and businesses that you are meant to lead. I want to sincerely appreciate you for being a part of the Security Evolution series. It's been a beautiful time. It's been an amazing time. It's been a wonderful, wonderful series. Once again, I thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who has been a part of this series. You know I love answering your questions, but most importantly, can you please stop sending me the questions in your DM, in my DM? I really appreciate if you put them on the wall so that every other person can gain, gain from it. It's very important that they also get some help. Some people may be experiencing the problem that you think you are experiencing. Don't be ashamed. Like I always say, it's a community. You don't have to send in the questions in my DM. You can actually put them on the wall. But if you still think you want to send them in the DM, I can, but you give me permission to be able to post them on the wall. Like I said, this is the end of the Security Evolution series, and it's going to be the beginning of the business resilience era. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being a beautiful, beautiful part of my journey, of this journey. Have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing week. I'll see you on the 5th of March 2026. That is going to be the first day in the business resilience era. Have a productive week.